Hi, my name is Vesa Painen and I work here at the University of Eastern Finland. On this video, I will show you some simple tools that you can use in your lectures on contact teaching to make it more interactive. Well, the interactivity depends on the number of PowerPoint slides you have for your teaching. If your teaching means that you have 40 PowerPoint slides with a lot of new information for the students, there's no time for interactivity. And even a single question in your lecture means that you will never get the last slides at all. And in that case, you can still use quizzes. You put some simple questions in the learning management system, and then the students can test that, okay, did they understand it right or wrong? And if they are doing these quizzes, it will improve their learning. Then, if your lectures are not completely packed with your PowerPoint slides, so there is some time that is available, then you could have clickers, especially in large courses where it's difficult to have a conversation with everybody. So you will teach 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then have a question there in the internet, and the students can answer with their cell phones. And then you can see that, okay, did they understand what I was teaching or not? And usually, if the question is very difficult, or the content was very difficult, it means that maybe 50% gets it right, 50% gets it wrong. So it's just stochastic. It just means that it's difficult. And the good point is that you can then use peer reviewing. So the students are discussing, just the neighbors, for 1 minute, getting some information that, okay, was it this or was it that? And why it was this and why it was not that. And then you can have the second round of the vote. And in these cases, maybe 90% of the students get it right, because the students are much better teachers than we are. And so they are having different kind of arguments to say that why it's this way. And then the other students can learn it much better. And similar strategy can be used on any kind of student-based tasks done in the lecture room, like in calculus. So when they are working together, they are teaching each other. And of course, now you might be criticizing that, okay, there are some that are not very good in calculus, they are just copying the answers from the others. Well, they are copying, but at the same time, they are getting some information from the other students that can be giving them some teaching that why it's going this way. And we should always remember that there are different kind of students in our courses. Some are having this course in their major subject. Some are having this course in their minor studies. And these kind of students, they have completely different kind of goal in their working life. So some students might not need this calculation at all. Well, then when we have these flipped classroom courses, so what does it mean when I'm having 90 minutes to spend with the students in the classroom every week, because all the material I'm giving them is there online? Well, what not to do in the classroom is that, okay, coming late, very busy, asking that, okay, was there any questions related on this week's task, and no one is answering. And within 5 minutes you are left the building. And thinking that, okay, this contact teaching is just waste of time. And in that case, it definitely is. Okay, the next mistake you can make is that, understanding that the students are not understanding everything on this week content. you are starting to review everything. So you are trying to get 10 hours of lectures within 2 hours, so using high speed. And next week, the students will not do their homework at all because they think that, okay, you will anyway review it. Okay, the third mistake you can, of course, do, that you put them to make some group work or whatever, and you're not giving them any hints. And then when they are failing, you're giving negative arguments. And of course, no one is going to do this. But well, in my cases, I put them to work together. So in that case, there is a lot of interactions, and there is a lot of peer instructions. And I have different kind of tasks that they are doing, and they are supporting different kind of goals for the learning. And the most simple thing is just the words and phrases, so they know the literature. And for that reason, I'm using chords. They have all the new phrases, all the new words of the course, and then they are playing alias. So one student is seeing the chord, and he or she is explaining to others without saying the word. And then the other players are trying to understand that, okay, what is type function? And this is a game that I invented to use in classroom, just to have something to do for the students, because I wanted to concentrate on one student at a time. But surprise, surprise, these students love this. So that's why we are playing these chords almost all the time, because it's a good way to start this online teaching period. They get used to each other in these groups, and there's quite nice conversations, and you can quite easily see that, okay, which terms were difficult and which were easy, and was there a group where they have a lot of difficulties, meaning that, okay, none of them were watching a single movie. Okay, this is just the basic level knowledge, so can you know all the terms. Okay, the next level I'm putting them to do is making reactions, or again a chord game. So we have biochemical reactions, how to form glucose to carbon dioxide. And as a freshman, they only need to know that, okay, what is the next step? What is the next step? What happens in this reaction, etc. And put them in the right order. And then explaining to each other that, okay, why it's going this way and not another way. And then for advanced studies, I'm using these same chords, but now they also have all the enzymes, and they have listed, okay, which reactions are spontaneous and for which you need more energy, and what about the rate constants, etc. So we can make more demanding tasks with the same game. And then I'm also putting them to rethink that, okay, this is the week's tasks. So what would be a good question in the exam on this week's content? And I will put them to work together in a paper, so they can summarize all the most important content of the week's lectures, or then they can invent that, okay, make them invention that, okay, this is a good question and this is a horrible question, so no one can answer it. Besides these simple level questions like phrases or what happens first and what happens next, I also have some more challenging tasks for the students, like problem-based learning. So they are working in groups and trying to resolve quite complex questions to which they can't answer immediately, but they have to get one step first and then another step. And then they are learning different methods that we can use in the research. And then they understand that, okay, with this method, they can get this and this kind of information and understand and make some evaluation on the figures that exist done with these methods. And then understand that, okay, what are also the limitations. And then after trying to resolve the question with one method, then they know that, okay, there's another method that can be used, and then step by step getting the right answer. And that is the same way as it goes in the scientific process. So why we are using certain methods and not others, and what kind of conclusions we can make by using certain methods, etc. So it might be that they are resolving it, okay, it's whether some molecule is a protein or whatever, and then what is the three-dimensional structure of this protein and all the steps between these. And beside making some task with just a paper and pencil, of course they are using these devices. So we can have some use some web pages for the information, or get the real 3D models of the proteins, or some biochemical pathways, etc. Because that's what the science is about. So, in the end, there are several different ways to have the students to work together to increase the interaction between the students, and then it's very simple to go in one group and to have the chat with the students and have a good conversation and to answer to all the open questions that the students have.